Dr. Eliza Monroe stood in front of the glowing blue portal. Her heart was beating fast. Around her, many scientists watched closely. The lab was quiet. Everyone knew this was not just another experiment. This was history. Eliza was not just a scientist. She was also brave. When no one else stepped forward to test the wormhole, she did. She smiled, waved at the cameras, and gave a thumbs up.
Nice.
Then she stepped into the portal. No one could have guessed what would happen next. The portal. Twisted space. Colors swirled around her. She felt cold, then warm, then strange. It was like flying without wings, like falling and floating at the same time. Everything turned white. When Eliza opened her eyes, she was standing in a large room. It was quiet, very quiet. She blinked. The walls were smooth and silver. Strange lights floated in the air. In front of her were rows of tall, thin aliens with long robes and shiny eyes. They sat on high chairs like judges. It was the Scifi. Council Elisa looked at them. They looked at her. She looked down. Oh no. She whispered. She was completely naked. The portal had stripped away her clothes, her watch, her translator chip, everything man-made. Only her body remained, standing bare in front of the most powerful aliens in the galaxy. There was a long silence. One of the Scifi dropped his glowing staff. Another gasped. A third fainted. Eliza took a deep breath. Then she stood straight, smiled confidently, and said, "Hi, I come in peace." No one moved. Then, slowly, a screen lit up behind her. The human command center on Earth was watching everything. The video feed was live. The entire world saw her standing there, calm and fearless. General Ortega back on Earth nearly choked on his coffee. Did the portal strip her clothes? He shouted, "Yes, sir," one technician replied. "All inorganic matter seems to be removed during transport." "Oh my God," whispered the Earth ambassador. But no one turned off the feed. Everyone, from scientists to school children, watched as Eliza stood tall among aliens, with nothing to hide. The Scifi Council finally spoke. "Who are you?" asked one of the elders, trying not to look directly at her. "I'm Dr. Eliza Monroe," she said proudly. "Human scientist. First traveler through the wormhole. Sorry about the clothes. Not my choice," the Scifi whispered among themselves. Their voices were musical and sharp. Some were offended. Some were fascinated. A few stared at her like she was a rare creature. A short alien walked forward. He held a small silver cloth and offered it without looking. "Please cover yourself," he said politely. Elisa took it. It was barely enough to wrap around her waist. But she tied it anyway and nodded in thanks. They led her to a smaller room. It was round, with smooth cushions and floating lights. An alien translator floated near her head. "Why did you arrive unclothed?" asked one of the council members. His voice was serious. "I didn't plan it," she said. "Your portal stripped my clothing." But in human culture, being naked doesn't always mean disrespect. In fact, it can mean honesty. "Honesty?" the alien asked. "Yes, we hide behind many things. Titles, clothes, masks. But when we are bare, we are just people. I stood before you with nothing, yet I was not afraid." The aliens looked at each other. This idea was strange to them. Meanwhile, back on Earth, the news spread like wildfire. Naked Ambassador was the top headline everywhere. People made jokes, art, even songs about her. But many were also proud. They saw Eliza as brave. She didn't panic. She didn't run. She stayed calm, even in such a strange and awkward moment. She is exactly the kind of human who should represent us. One reporter said children in schools drew pictures of her with stars and alien friends. Even world leaders praised her. Courage. Eliza had become more than a scientist. She was a symbol. The Scifi Council debated for hours. "She has broken protocol," said one elder. "She showed courage," said another. "She came without armor." "Without lies," said a younger council member. "Maybe this is what humans are." They called her back into the chamber. This time, she wore a larger robe, gifted by the Scifi. It sparkled like starlight. She stood before the council again, this time with a small smile. "Dr. Monroe," the elder said, "your arrival was unusual, but you have our attention." "I hope I also have your respect," she replied. The elder nodded slowly. "Earth may not be like us, but you are not afraid. That means something." Eliza bowed slightly. "We only wish to learn, to share, to grow." The elder looked around, then let the discussions begin. The chamber doors opened. Light poured in. More aliens entered, not as judges but as guests. Eliza took her place at the round table. The robe shimmered. Her message was clear. She had nothing to hide, and neither did humanity. And so, the first human to meet the Galactic Council wasn't a general, a diplomat, or a president. She was a scientist. She was bold. She was naked, and she was unforgettable. The story of Dr. Eliza Monroe spread faster than anyone expected. On Earth, she was called many names: the brave one, the naked diplomat, and the honest face of humanity. People around the world watched her video again and again. Some laughed, some cried, most just stared in wonder. Even children knew her name now. In schools, kids dressed like her for fun, wearing silver robes and waving at pretend aliens. But for the people of Earth, it wasn't just a funny moment. It was a proud one. For the first time, human had faced an alien council with nothing, no weapons, no power, no clothes. Still stood strong. But on the alien world of Calith, the reaction was different. The Calithi were an ancient race. For thousands of years, they followed strict customs. Their council chamber was sacred. Their robes were symbols of honor. To appear without one was a deep insult in their culture. Some of them were still angry. "She mocked our laws," one elder growled. "She made our children ask strange questions." Another said, but not everyone agreed. "She came through the portal by mistake," said the younger council member Valon. "She did not mean to insult us. She spoke with strength," another added, "and she did not hide." The council was split. Eliza, meanwhile, was given a guest room in the Great Calathi Sky Palace. The walls shimmered like water. Lights floated gently. Strange music played in the background like soft wind and singing stars. She looked out. The window and saw flying ships, glowing gardens, and tall towers touching the clouds. It was beautiful, peaceful. But she knew trouble was coming. A small translator orb floated beside her. "Dr. Monroe," it said, "the council has more questions. You were asked to meet them again in 2 hours." Eliza sighed. "No problem. Tell them I'll be there with clothes this time." The orb blinked green dot back on Earth. World leaders prepared statements. United Nations held a special meeting. The head of Earth's diplomatic team, Ambassador Rajan, tried to calm everyone. "Eliza has opened the door," he said, "and we must walk through it carefully." But even he knew the truth. Eliza wasn't just a scientist anymore. She was the first true face of Earth to the galaxy, and she had done it by being completely unplanned. It was unguarded and real. No one could have trained for this. 2 hours later, Eliza entered the council chamber again. This time she wore a Calathi robe, specially made for her. It was light and long, covered in stars and symbols. She walked with calm steps and nodded politely to each council member. The chamber was full. Not just the 12 Calathi leaders, but also other species. Small green creatures with glowing hands, tall beings with crystal skin, even to bird-like, aliens with golden feathers. They had all come to see the human. The elder stood. "Dr. Monroe, before we speak of peace, we must understand your kind." Eliza nodded. "Ask anything." The room grew quiet. "Why did you not panic?" One alien asked. "Most species would run or hide." Eliza smiled. "Humans are used to strange things. We explore, we fall, we get up again. Don't stop just because we feel embarrassed." A young alien raised a hand. "Is being naked normal on Earth?" Eliza laughed softly. "Always. But it doesn't mean war or disrespect. In some places, it means truth. In some, it means starting fresh." The aliens murmured among themselves. Valon, the youngest council member, stepped forward. You stood without fear, he said. You spoke with no lies. That is not something we see often. Eliza looked at him. I didn't come to impress you. I came to connect. Another elder asked, Do all humans act like you? Eliza shook her head. No, we're all different. Some are careful. Some are wild. But we all share something. The desire to understand. The council members looked at each other. Some frowned. Others nodded slowly. Back in her room later that evening, Eliza sat near the window again. A soft knock echoed at the door. It opened slowly. Valen stood there, holding a small tablet. May I join you? He asked, of course, Eliza. Said he sat beside her, placing the tablet on the table. It showed images of earth forests, oceans, cities. I have been studying your planet, he said. It is strange. Loud, bright. Yeah, that sounds about right. Eliza smiled. Valen turned to her. You confuse us, Dr. Monroe. You appear with no robe, yet act with honor. You break rules, yet speak with wisdom. That's humanity, she said. We are full of surprises. A soft beeping sound came from the wall. The council sent. Another message. Tomorrow, Valen read aloud. You will speak again. This time, to decide if Earth can begin talks for Galactic Union membership. Elisa blinked. That soon? Valen nodded. Some still think humans are too wild. Others believe you bring something new, something the galaxy needs. She looked out at the stars. Well, I didn't come here to make history. I just wanted to test a wormhole. Valen smiled. And instead, you made a galaxy look twice. That night, on Earth, people held watch parties, screens and times. Squares showed live footage of Calith. In Tokyo, fireworks lit the sky. In Brazil, musicians sang songs about the brave lady with no fear. Even astronauts on the moon station watched, cheering every time Eliza spoke. The next morning, Eliza stood once more before the council. This time, she was ready. She didn't bring weapons. She didn't bring machines. She brought only her words. I may have arrived in the wrong way, she said, but I came with the right heart. She looked around. We humans are not perfect. We're messy. Loud. Strange, but we care. We dream. We reach for stars we don't even understand. We don't give up. The room was silent. She continued. I came before you with nothing, and still I was welcomed. That is a gift I won't forget. And I hope you won't forget us either. Valen looked at the elders. Then he stood. You have shown us something rare, he said. Not power, not technology, but honesty. He raised his hand. Let us consider what a friendship with Earth might bring. And with that, the council agreed to hold a vote. The door to the stars was not fully open yet, but it was no longer shut. All because one human walked through a portal, lost her clothes, and stood proud anyway. The great chamber of the Calathi Council was quiet again. Outside, alien birds flew between crystal towers. Below, glowing gardens bloomed under twin moons. But inside the chamber, tension filled the air. The vote to begin talks with Earth would happen soon. But first, the council would debate. 12 alien leaders sat in their high chairs. Each represented a different region of the Calathi world. All of them had watched Eliza Monroe closely since the moment she arrived naked, brave and full of unexpected humanity. And now they had to decide. She is too bold, Elder Nerith said.
Elder.
She broke every rule of honor. She stood before us with no covering. That is not the way. But she did not come to insult, said Elder Fallon. She came through the portal unprotected. She remained calm. That is strength. She is a danger, another growled. If all humans are like her, they will bring chaos to the stars. She is a light, Fallon said again. She reminds us what we have forgotten. Courage without fear. Some nodded. Others looked away. Eliza sat alone in a waiting chamber. Nearby, her new robe felt more comfortable now. She had grown used to the soft fabric, the way it shimmered like moonlight. But she couldn't sit still. The translator orb floated beside her. Would you like music? It asked. No, thank you. She whispered. She paced the room, glancing at the ceiling where a soft glow pulsed. She knew a decision was coming soon. Earth's future rested on this strange alien council. She didn't feel scared, but she felt the weight. Suddenly the orb blinked. "You are being called to speak before the council." Liza took a deep breath. "All right, let's do this." The chamber doors opened slowly. Dozens of alien eyes turned to her, not just the council members, but also guests from other star systems. Diplomats, scientists, observers. The room was full. Eliza walked to the center circle. Her footsteps echoed softly. She bowed her head. "Honorable Council, thank you for hearing me." Elder Nerith stood first. "Dr. Monroe," he said, "you have created great waves in our world. Your arrival was unforgettable. Some call you a sign of change, others a mistake. What do you say to this?" Lisa stood tall. Her voice was steady. "I say, both might be true." Murmurs spread across the room. She continued, "I didn't come here as a hero. Didn't plan to stand before you like that. But I didn't run. I didn't hide. I stood there because I believe in something bigger. Connection." She looked around. "Yes, I was naked. I had nothing to hide. That is what I want to show you about humanity. We don't always get it right, but we try. We keep going. Fall, we get up. We keep walking forward." Valon stepped forward. "Speak well, but words are easy. How do we know your people will not bring danger to the galaxy?" Liza thought for a moment. "Because we know what danger feels like. We've lived through it. We've made mistakes, big ones. But that's how we learn. That's how we grow." She paused. "Humans don't come to rule. We come to share. To learn from you. And maybe to remind you of things your own history has forgotten." Valon looked at the others. "Like what?" Liza smiled slightly. "Like laughter. Like second chances. Like hope. Even in the most embarrassing moments." A soft chuckle came from the back of the room. A tall alien with silver horns lowered his head and laughed again. "She's right," he said. "That first day, I didn't know if I should laugh or panic, but it was honest. Real." More laughter followed, quiet, unsure, but growing. It was rare in the chamber. Very rare. Back on Earth, the live feed played across cities and stations. People leaned close to screens. In a hospital, a young girl whispered, "She's doing it." In a classroom, a teacher wiped a tear from his eye. Eliza Monroe had become more than a scientist. More than the first human through the wormhole. She was a bridge. The council began to speak one by one. "She is strange, but brave. She broke custom, but followed truth. She did not come with power, yet stood stronger than many who have." Then Elder Nerith stood again. "We have seen her heart," he said. "But now we must choose." The lights dimmed, glowing. Circle appeared in front of each council seat. Each member placed a hand above it. Their decision would be shown in color green for yes, red for no. The room held its breath. One by one, lights lit up. Green, green, red, green, 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 red, green, green. 9 votes yes, 3 votes no. Eliza felt her knees weaken slightly. She took a breath. Valon turned to the crowd. "The council has spoken. We will begin talks with Earth. Humanity may stand among us." A soft hum of voices filled the chamber. It had happened. Earth was no longer alone. Eliza bowed deeply. "Thank you. On behalf of all humans, thank you." Elder Feline smiled. "You should thank you for showing us that even the most unusual first step can lead to something powerful." Eliza grinned. "That's kind of our specialty." That night, Eliza stood on the sky balcony. Stars glowed above. The twin moons cast silver light across the palace. Valon joined her. "You changed everything, you know." "I didn't mean to," she said. "Sometimes the best changes come by accident." They looked out at the stars. "What happens next?" she asked. "Talks will begin, slowly, carefully. You will help guide them." Elisa laughed softly. Not bad for someone who showed up with nothing. Valon looked at her. "You had more than you think. You had honesty, courage, and you gave us a gift we didn't expect." "What's that?" He smiled. "A reason to believe again?" And far above, in the darkness of space, other alien ships turned their sensors toward Earth. They had seen what happened. They had heard the speech. And now they were curious. What kind of species sent a woman naked into the stars, who stood proud, spoke with heart, and won over one of the oldest councils in the galaxy? They wanted to know more. The galaxy was changing, and it started with Elisa Monroe. The Calathi Council's decision to begin talks with Earth sent ripples through the galaxy. Some species cheered the chance for new allies. Others whispered warnings of human unpredictability. For Dr. Eliza Monroe, the work was just beginning. Eliza soon learned that the Council's welcome came with conditions. They wanted to be sure humans could handle their customs. They wanted to test Earth's willingness and patience. They called it the trial of trust. Eliza smiled at the name. She was ready. The first test was simple on paper, but difficult in practice. Eliza was to join a formal ceremony with Calathi elders on, event full of strict rules. No sudden moves. No eye contact with certain elders. No laughter. No mistakes. On Earth, such a ceremony would seem boring, but here, it was the heart of their culture, dressed in a new robe, woven with delicate light threads. Eliza entered the great hall. The elders sat silently on carved stone thrones. The air was thick with expectation. Eliza bowed deeply. The ceremony began. For hours, Eliza followed every rule perfectly. Her hands stayed still. Her voice was quiet, but inside, she was nervous. The slightest slip could ruin everything. When the last chant ended, a hush filled the room. Then an elder smiled. "You have shown respect to our customs," he said. "You passed the first test." Eliza exhaled quietly. The next test was harder. She was invited to meet Calathi children. The young ones were curious and playful, but Calathi children were raised with strict discipline. They were not used to strangers or laughter. Eliza sat in a circle. On the floor with the children at first, they watched her with wide eyes. Then, a small girl giggled. Eliza smiled and made a funny face. The children laughed. The room filled with lightness. One child asked, "Are all humans born without armor?" Eliza laughed. "No, not exactly. But we have no natural armor, but we make clothes and tools to protect ourselves." A boy asked, "Why did you come to us without clothes?" Eliza thought for a moment. It was a mistake. But sometimes, mistakes help us see new things. The children nodded. Eliza realized that by breaking the rules, she had also broken barriers. But not everyone was happy. Some elders whispered that humans were too unpredictable. They feared that humans would disrupt the order of the galaxy. Eliza knew the path ahead would be difficult. The third test involved a political challenge. Eliza was asked to mediate a dispute between two alien tribes. The tribes had fought for generations over a small but important resource. Humans had no right to interfere, but the council wanted to see if Earth's people could handle complex diplomacy. Eliza traveled with two Calathi, advisors to the disputed land. She listened carefully to both sides. She asked questions. She did not take sides. Instead, she suggested a shared agreement. The tribes would cooperate to use the resource fairly at first. The tribes were suspicious, but Eliza's calm and honest approach won respect. Slowly, they agreed. The council was impressed. Back at the palace, Veilon smiled. "You are more than a visitor now. You are a diplomat." Lisa smiled back. "It's strange," she said. "I came to test a portal. Now I am testing the galaxy." The fourth test was personal. Eliza was invited to share her culture in a great hall filled with many alien species. She prepared food from Earth, showed music, and told stories. Some aliens laughed. Others listened quietly. One alien approached her. He said, "Your stories are full of hope and fear. You are like us, yet different." Eliza nodded. "That is what makes us strong." But tension remained. Not all species trusted humans. Many watched carefully. They waited for a sign of weakness. One night, a message arrived. The council warned Eliza that some factions planned to stop Earth's membership. They saw humans as a threat. Eliza's heart beat fast. She knew this was a test of endurance. She called her team. "We must show them who we really are," she said. "Not just with words, but with actions." They worked day and night. Eliza asked the Kalathi leaders for a joint mission. Together, humans and Kalathi would explore a dangerous region filled with space storms and pirates. If successful, it would prove humans were reliable. The council agreed. Eliza prepared the ship. The day of departure arrived. The ship lifted off under twin moons. Eliza looked back at the palace. She smiled. "I came here naked," she whispered. "Now I fly with friends." Galaxy watched and waited. The mission was ready. A human Kalathi ship, named Unity Star, stood tall on the launch platform. Its silver surface gleamed under the twin moons of Kalath. Eliza Monroe stood beside the ship, dressed in a new ceremonial robe that combined Earth and Kalathi designs. It was a symbol of promise of friendship. The council members, alien diplomats, and Earth observers gathered to watch the launch. The mood was hopeful, but tense. Eliza took a deep breath. This mission was more than exploration. It was a test of trust. As the engines roared to life, Unity Star lifted off smoothly. Eliza sat at the pilot's seat, flanked by a Kalathi captain and a human engineer. The ship soared into space, passing through shimmering clouds of star dust and weaving between glittering asteroid fields. The mission's goal was clear: explore a dangerous sector known for space storms and pirate activity. Many believed it was too risky for newcomers. Eliza smiled. "Perfect place to prove ourselves." For days the crew faced challenges. Violent solar winds threatened to push them off course. Strange signals appeared on their sensors. Pirate ships nearby, but Eliza stayed calm. She coordinated the crew, sharing tasks equally between humans and Kalathi, worked as a team. One night, as the ship passed through a storm of glowing plasma, alarms blared. Pirates had attacked. Small, fast ships surrounded Unity Star, firing beams of energy. The crew scrambled to defend. Eliza took command. "Hold steady. Focus on shields and evasive maneuvers." The Kalathi captain fired warning blasts. The human engineer repaired damaged systems quickly. Together, they fought the attack. Suddenly, the pirates stopped. A large ship appeared, shining with golden light. Its captain hailed Unity Star. "Humans and Kalathi," the voice said. "We recognize your courage. You may pass." The pirates withdrew. The crew cheered quietly. Eliza looked around. This is more than survival. This is trust. When Unity Star returned to Kalath, the council awaited eagerly. Eliza stepped down from the ship, smiling with tired eyes. "You have passed the ultimate test," Elder Feline said. "You did not only survive, you worked together with honor and courage." The council stood and applauded, a rare and powerful gesture. Back on Earth, the news was celebrated. The people cheered for Eliza and the crew. Schools taught the story of Unity Star's mission as an example of hope and cooperation. Eliza received messages from children, leaders, and strangers. They called her a hero, but she remained humble. "I only did what any human would do," she said. "Stand up and face the unknown." The council invited Eliza to speak at the Galactic Union's opening ceremony. It was the first time Earth joined the Great Alliance of Stars. Eliza wore a new robe, this time a perfect blend of Earth's colors and Kalathi patterns. She stood before thousands of aliens from many worlds. Her voice was strong. "Today, we begin a new chapter," she said. "A chapter of friendship, courage, and honesty." She looked at the crowd. "I came here once with nothing but myself, naked in body, but full in heart." The audience was silent, and now she continued, "I stand here as a symbol not of weakness, but of strength. Strength to face fears, to embrace differences, and to build a better future together. After her speech, many came to greet her. Aliens thanked her for opening their minds and hearts. A young Kalathi child tugged at her robe and asked, "Will all humans come like you did?" Eliza laughed gently. "I hope not, but if they do, I'll be here to welcome them." Laughter filled the room. Later, Eliza stood with Vylon on the balcony, watching stars sparkle. "We changed the galaxy," she said softly. "Because you showed them what humanity really is," Vylon replied. Eliza smiled. "And we still have so." Much to learn. The stars seemed brighter that night. A new era had begun.